Good morning, welcome to Fairy and Spoilt. Today I'm going to talk to you about My Dog Won't Eat. I got a message on an Instagram, a DM, from somebody who said that their dog has been a really fussy eater and they're beside themselves. And I thought this wasn't planned, this video at all. I thought I'm just gonna pick up my camera and just talk because I I'm laughing about this because I've been through such awful situations with this. Utter despair that dogs won't eat. I've been through it. I've been through it so many times. Um so let me tell you what I've been through so you can be like, yep, this is what I'm going through. And then let me tell you how I've sorted it out. So two dogs, I've had a lot of dogs in the years, but two dogs spring to mind. One was a German Shepherd, and then my little Albert down here that's busy scratching his ear. He was terrible. I've got Humps over here with us as well. I've got three dogs at the moment. He hasn't been a problem at all. Right, so let me tell you about, everyone's having a wash and a scratch. Let me tell you about, I have been, honestly, I'm just laughing about this. First of all, because I'm not being flippant. I know if you're going through this, it's really bad. I know how bad it is. Having a dog that just will not eat anything. And the thing that sprung to mind when I thought about this was how you buy a dog food, a different one, and they always eat it the first time you put it down. Always. But then that's it, they won't ever touch it again. And the amount of times when I've put a dog food down, they've eaten it, so I've been like, brilliant, they've eaten it. I've gone to the shop, bought 50,000 tins of it, and then they've never eaten it again. So I've had to give all the amount of food, dog food, I have given away to our local hedgehog charity because I thought this was the food, this was the one they were going to eat, and they wouldn't eat it. I can't tell you, and the money, don't even get me started on the cost of it all. So I have been in situations where, with the two that spring to mind, where I resorted to buying them the worst quality food possible, the cheapest, worst quality food possible, because they would eat that. Even to the point where little Albert here, I fed him on the worst known dog food possible because at least he would eat it. And it was such bad quality that he couldn't even manage to walk up the road because he had just no energy at all. I've had them where I would share all my meals with them. All my meals, just anything, just drastic, just to get them to eat anything. I would share all my meals with them. I remember we went through a stage with little Albert. Everyone's having a wash. We just got back from our walk and they're all wet, or their feet are wet and that from the grass. I remember little Albert went through a stage where he would only eat oatcakes. So fine. I just kept feeding him oatcakes. It's anything, because you get to that point, don't you, where you're just so desperate. Like, you're just so desperate. You would just feed them anything. Just please, please eat something. And you're just so desperate. And you don't care what it is. Biscuits, you just don't care. Just anything. Please eat something. So, oh, trust me, I know. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Cooking, roasting them chickens. Please just eat the chicken. If I roast it for you, will you eat the chicken? Please eat the chicken. And they'll eat it, and then they won't eat it, and then they will, and then they won't. And oh my goodness, it's awful. So let me tell you how I got over it. I'm not one for rushing to the vets for things. Obviously, I'm never going to let a dog suffer. Of course, never. But I'm just not one for rushing to the vets for everything, because vets. I've done a whole video on this, and if you want to go and watch it, I'll put it up at the end. If you want to watch it now, it's in the Choosing the Best for Your Dog playlist, and it's Choosing a Vet. You have to remember with vets, it's a business. And so if you do, I do absolutely believe if your dog's not eating, you should go to the vet just to get everything checked out. Once I had a cat that just was going through fussy eating. It turned out she had like a throat infection. And so, I think if a dog really isn't eating anything, just isn't, or, will eat a bit of this and a bit of that, but doesn't stick with anything, I do think you probably should go to the vet. But when you get to the vets, be careful, because vets love to send dogs on a million tests Don't be falling for any of that. Don't be falling for them giving you a dog food that costs the earth, because that's just whatever dog food company is paying them the most commission. So anyway, I'll put that video up. Go and watch that. But I do think you should get them to the vets just to check that out. But then once the vet has given the all clear, and make it clear when you go to the vets, make it clear that you're not there for hundreds of tests. You're not there for hundreds of expensive medications. You're just there because you are about to put your foot down with the dog and be like, eat or starve. No dog is ever going to starve. But before you do that, you do just need to get them checked out at the vets just to make sure there isn't a reason why they're not eating. But make sure the vet knows that is what you're doing, that you have a plan in place. When you're just going to bring them to the vets, make sure there's nothing obviously wrong, and then when you get home you are going to be strict about the eating. Once they know that, they kind of won't push so much on you. So that goes to the thing. The way to get over this is your dog has to know you are not going to be serving up a new kind of variety of food every day if they be fussy. They have to know that. They also have to know that the food is not going to be there all the time, because whether they're an older dog or whether they're a younger dog, the whole point of them is that they have to survive, and they know they have to eat to survive. So having free feeding of dogs, that's just where you have food down all the time, is really bad, because they just know it's there, and they know if they don't eat it, you're just going to bring them something new and interesting. It's just they're playing you, and I know it seems like they're a dog and they're not playing you, but they are playing you. So you have to put the food down. This is how I did it. Chose 2 times a day, morning and evening. The food went down for 15 minutes each time, and then it came up. And so it went down for 15 minutes in the morning. If they didn't eat it, after 15 minutes it came up, and they didn't get anything for the rest of the day. So no treats, nothing. And then it went down in the evening again for 15 minutes, and you pick a food that you're going to feed them and you stick with that. You don't move from that. That is the food you're getting, and you're going to get it twice a day. It's going to be put down. Now they may go 3 days without eating if they're really stubborn, but you told your vet what you're going to do, so it's all under vet supervision. And they will stop it, because they're just playing you, because you think I know what you're doing. Right, tell me you're not doing this. You tried to feed your dog a food. He ate it the first time. Then he won't eat it now. So the second day he didn't eat it. He wouldn't eat it the next meal. So you've gone out and bought him a different food, and he's eaten that the first time, and then he won't eat it the next time. So you're planning in your head, I better go and try another food. So you're planning on your head, aren't you, that you're going to go to the shop and buy him another food? Or you're planning in your head, okay, he's not eating chicken anymore. How about if I cook him some turkey? I know what you're doing, because I've done it so many times myself. So it's really important that you put the food down, 15 minutes, you pick it up, you put it away. You do not. No treats, nothing. Obviously water, constantly water. If your dog's not drinking water, that can get quite serious. So you must, that is important, mention that to the vet. So that's that. So food down, leave it. Now a point I want to make is, and I have no idea if this is a coincidence, I started to get really almost fanatical about dog nutrition about 10 years ago, and it was because my little Albert here, he got really bad hot spots. So about 10 years ago I started to really get fanatical with dog nutrition, and since then I have never had a dog do fussy eating. And I don't know if that is just a coincidence, if it's just the dogs I've had, or if it is because of how I now feed them. So I won't go into it on here because it's too long and it just goes on forever. But basically, it's absolutely no grains at all, as well as a whole load of other food, but basically no grains. So a grain-free food that's got a good composition, so at least 50% meat or fish. If you don't know what any of that means, I've got a whole load of videos. So there's a playlist for feeding dogs. So in there it is about understanding ingredients of dog food and how to read the back packet of a dog food, and understand what's in it. And then there's a whole playlist for hot spots and itchy skin. And in there I taught loads about nutrition and how to feed the dog. But if you haven't got time to go and watch that, the general thing of it is that you need a grain-free food. So for the last 10 years I've only ever fed my dogs on grain-free food, only ever. Grain-free food, and then but you need the meat or the fish content to be at least 50%. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence that since I've been doing that, I've never had a fussy eater. And I've had new dogs in that time, and I've never had a fussy eater, and I don't know if it's a coincidence or not. So if I well if you this is what I would recommend. If your dog isn't eating, you'd be doing all the typical fussy stuff, I would go and buy a grain-free dog food, wet. I'm really against kibble. I see so many over this time of having this channel. I have helped so many dogs who are having terrible itchy skin problems, and it's because they're eating dog food that's got grain in it. So and kibble just isn't a good thing. So I would recommend that you go and buy a grain-free dog food, that you put it down for 15 minutes in the morning, you pick it up, and you can put it in the fridge and save it later if it's if you need, if that's what kind of food it is. Put it in the fridge, save it for later, and then do it again in the evening. Put it down 15 minutes. What I also would do is I would put the food down, and I would leave the room, or make sure you can still see your dog, but go away, because they're doing this. What's the point of them doing this if you're not there to see it? They're much more likely to just stop messing you around and just get on with what they've got to do. So put it down, leave the room. That's what I would do. If the dog's going to follow you, don't leave the room if the dog's going to follow you. But do you know what I mean? Or if you're in the room, just do something just do something so they can tell that you're not watching them. Of course you are watching them, but that of course you are. You're so desperate for them to eat, you're watching everything they do. But just don't let them think that you're just standing there and watching them. And something else, hand feeding. I have hand fed these dogs that will not eat, like begging them almost, please will you eat this food, and hand feeding them it. Don't be doing any of that. No hand feeding. Stop all that. I've done all of that. Oh, I've done all of that. So none of that. So grain-free food down to 15 minutes up. Don't look at them when the food is down. Just get on with your day. Absolutely no treats during the day. Nothing. And then, but only water, obviously water. Then put it down again in the evening, 15 minutes. If they don't eat it, pick it up, and leave it. Don't put it back down. And again, no treats. And then do the same thing the next day. You'll be amazed how quickly they'll stop messing you around. And the important thing is, don't change the food. So pick a food that you're going to stick with, and then that is the food. That's really important, because I think so much of the problem with fussy eaters is that they don't eat and they keep getting all these different foods. And I think that is why, a lot of the reason why they're doing it. Because, talk to me about this, but are you finding that as soon as you buy them a new food, they like that for that meal, but then that's it, it's over. So I think it's sometimes with dogs, we forget that. I mean, yeah, sure, of course they're animals, of course they are, but don't be surprised about how much they're playing you. They have the intelligence to play you, and don't underestimate how much they are playing you, because that they are. Let me just I just wrote down a few quick. Oh, sorry, a few quick notes. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I've covered everything. You're all right, Pickle Boy. He's never been a fussy eater, have you, my darling? He's look at him. He gets down behind the back of the sofa. He's never been a fussy eater. He's always been no problems at all with him. Had some food aggression when he first came, but we sorted that out quickly. But no fussy eating. But Albert over here, oh my goodness, the fussiness was ridiculous, and it was awful. So if you got any questions, just pop them into comments. You know where I am on all the social medias, all under furry and spoilt. And if your dog is refusing to eat, I really hope that it gets sorted very quickly. I'm really confident that if you do those things, you will, because they've always worked for me. They don't. None of my dogs are just. Have you ever heard of a dog just starving to death because he wouldn't eat? It just doesn't happen, does it? So I'm sorry that you're going through it, and please believe me, I'm not being flippant just because I'm laughing about it. I'm not being flippant. I'm just laughing. It's nervous laughing because I remember how awful it was. So I hope that your dog soon, I hope your dog soon learns that there's no more different kinds of food coming. You're not going to the supermarket and buying 100 different kinds of food, and you're not going to be cooking 100 different kinds of food. There's no more different kinds of food coming. This is the food, and it's coming twice a day. Obviously, once they start eating again, you can put treats in and all of that. But to begin with, they've got to know you mean business. All right, okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.